Hello guys, welcome back to BoreDraw, episode number 25.
Let's go. Quarter of
Yeah.
a century.
Huh?
Quarter of a century.
Quarter of a century. Wow, 25 episodes already, man.
Yeah, come on.
I feel like only yesterday was our first episode.
Like it was yesterday.
Like it was yesterday. But big week of games. Some huge results in the Barclays Premier League. We got a very happy boy over here.
Always a happy boy.
Potentially, I mean, we're going to start with this game anyway. Potentially, it's Arsenal's biggest test of the season so far. I say potentially, probably definitely, in terms of finding a placeholder for where they actually stand in the league. I know they've been doing very well.
Yeah.
They play a team, they beat Spurs, they faltered against United, but a Liverpool team who have been severely underperforming, lying below Bournemouth and Fulham in the Premier League table at the minute. But the Gunners came out 3-2 on top.
It was a quality game for the neutral.
It was the intensity of that game.
Not
was
like a neutral.
it was the most intense football the Premier League has seen this season.
You know, like last season, or kind of like the last couple of seasons, whenever you watch Man City, Liverpool play each other, it's always like a 3-2 or like a 4-3, and you just know, the standard is levels above every other game that you watch that like week or even like that season. Those games when them two play each other, standards so high. Don't want to gas us too much, but it did feel reminiscent of like a City Liverpool game where it's end to end, attackers on crud, defenders on crud. Yeah, it was a really good game.
It was it was end to end, and there was a lot of spice in the game. Graham Souness would have loved this game.
He would.
It was a man's game, apparently. But yeah, it had everything. Did get very heated towards the end. Obviously, that's the whole Jordan Henderson situation.
Won't speak about that.
We won't talk about that too much, or at all. But
could be something.
What a performance from Arsenal.
Yeah.
And you know what? It wasn't the worst Liverpool performance either.
Nah, I said this post game when my brother. I had a chat with my brother, and he was like, "Oh, Liverpool, they're shit at the moment." Blah blah blah. And I was saying that Liverpool team, with that performance, they beat most other teams in the league.
Yeah, they're 100%.
But we're looking like upper echelons at the moment, so it's one of those ones.
I heard some people talking about Arteta, and specifically after this game, and saying this season he's transitioned from being a step below like the top Premier League managers into that sort of top echelon now. Like you're really seeing the tactical nuances coming into play now, and his ability to manage and see out games.
Yeah. He did a couple of things this game that made me think like his managerial IQ has like come on leaps and bounds. And you could always tell like in the City All or Nothing and just like all the stuff Pep says about him, that he was like a tactical kind of like genius, but obviously don't want to use the word genius too flippantly. But like everyone did gas up his tactical IQ. And so, but he's done a couple of things in his tenure at Arsenal so far that have made me think, oh, maybe that's something he'll learn as he gets more experience. But in that Arsenal-Liverpool game, some of the decisions he made, one playing Tomiyasu, another playing Ben White at right back, and just stuff like that just makes me think he's come on leaps and bounds in quite a short space of time. It was
really impressive. I think the Tomiyasu pick really neutralised Salah's effectiveness in the game.
It was crazy how smart that move was.
Obviously, Tomiyasu is a right-footed player. Salah likes to cut inside onto his left from that right wing. And every time he would cut inside, Tomiyasu was there to match him with his strong foot.
Yeah.
So like Salah really didn't get any joy out of it. Tomiyasu's also not the smallest lad.
No, that's exactly it. So Arsenal would like press the Liverpool defence so that it was like on Tsimikas' and Van Dijk's side. And then all Van Dijk does is spray a diag. And if like last season, Tierney couldn't really handle the diag, Salah would muscle him, bring the ball down and go at Tierney. But aerially, Tomiyasu won like every single diag. And then if Salah did manage to bring it down, like you said, Salah cuts it in, Tomiyasu's there on his strong foot. So yeah, the Tomiyasu move, Salah was pocketed. And I know Salah's been ropey this season anyway, but that was his ropiest. He got, when did he get yanked off? Half time? Was it? Or just after half time?
Just after, I think.
Shambles, mate.
Yeah, I mean, I also thought the fact that they obviously targeted the Trent side a lot.
Oh yeah,
and
Martinelli.
It was an absolute overload. You had Martinelli literally just toasting him. Martinelli, by the way, just shout out Martinelli. He's having an absolute season of his life. If he's not in that Brazil squad,
he's got to be.
We're gonna have issues because he's on crud.
He's better. Like, everyone was comparing Richarlison to Gabriel Jesus. Richarlison isn't even fit to lace Martinelli's boots.
But yeah, no, he's having an absolute blinder of a season. There's a bit of controversy around his goal about the VAR.
Oh yeah, it's crazy. Like, if I was a neutral, I wouldn't really care. Like, who cares? But like, as a Liverpool fan,
you'd be raging.
How can you not get? There's cameras everywhere in the stadium. How can
we're in 2022? Yeah, you
find
can't,
the line,
bro. You go to the shops and buy like a beer, and you're on 56 different cameras.
Yeah.
Mate, we're in the Premier League, the richest league in the world, yeah, and you're telling me they can't get that camera?
I say, yeah, if I was a Liverpool fan, I'd be going nuts.
But yeah, I mean...
There was a couple of ropey decisions.
There's no point beating on about it because it's happened now. They're not going to go back and reverse the decision.
And in the grand scheme of things, like, yeah, that could have gone either way. Arsenal were the better team.
Oh, 100%.
Black and white.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, say that decision doesn't go our way and Liverpool get the offside. I reckon we go and score another goal anyway. Like... fucking butterfly effect. Shit happens, another thing happens. But we were the better team on the day and, in my opinion, deserve the 3 points.
Yeah, I agree with that. I thought Liverpool are just causing their own issues at the minute. They are going behind every single game.
It's crazy. And we've said
they only start playing when they go behind.
Yeah.
And so there were spells when Liverpool were behind and they looked like they were going to go on. And especially when it went to 2-2, I was thinking, Liverpool might just run on with this game now.
Yeah.
Because they might be able to take it into like that fourth gear where Arsenal might not even be able to match it. But Liverpool haven't really moved out of second gear all season.
Well, I think, like you're saying about like third and fourth gear that they used to be able to move into, do you think it's because the squad are aging? They're like, are they the second oldest squad in the league or the oldest squad in the league? Do you reckon their inability to get up to that level as quick as they used to is because they're getting too old? And the likes of Arsenal are now getting to that level quickly because we've got a young, energetic
Arsenal
team.
are starting games in fifth gear already. They're starting games at 100 miles an hour.
Like, you don't go and score in the first minute against Liverpool. That doesn't happen.
They're finishing the first half in fifth gear. They might drop down a couple, you know, in points of the game where it goes a bit quieter. But that's no issue at all. You want to finish strong. You want to start strong.
Yeah.
But yeah, Liverpool. I don't know whether it's about aging. I mean, there are a few rumours that their approach to their tactical training and their method of training has changed this season to deal with the more hectic schedule. Obviously, we've got the Qatar World Cup in November. We've got what do you call it? The Champions League is started, just like that's already going on.
Yeah,
they're playing tonight against Rangers. So it's a really compact schedule, and I don't know whether they're sort of reducing the intensity of their training is as a way of like sort of alleviating stress on players.
Yeah, you don't want them like stressed
24/7. If you're not hitting those levels of intensity in training, you're not going to be able to hit them on the pitch.
100%.
Also, the loss of Sadio Mane is massive. I think we're seeing Luis Diaz. Obviously, he's a good player, but he's not linking the same way or performing the same duties as Mane. Yeah. They look better with the 4-2-3-1.
Nunez actually had quite a good game. I thought he was, out of the front line, he caused us the most problems.
I mean, you're going to be, like, the most cliche thing to say about Darwin Nunez is that his movement is fantastic, and it really is. But honestly, out of everyone in the Liverpool squad, a player who's benefited from their downfall is Mr. Bobby Firmino.
Yeah.
He's, what's he on, 6 goals now this season?
Yeah, what do you get? A hat-trick against Bournemouth, 1 against us.
I mean, yeah, he is scoring goals, and honestly, I know you spent a lot of money on Nunez, but I think they would be more dangerous with the likes of Firmino playing a little bit like a false 9, with allowing Salah to get further forward, playing that link-up play, and Luis Diaz as well. Luis Diaz is hugging the touchline and then cutting inside. Let him bomb on behind. Let him try and break the lines. He's going to be so much more dangerous that way. And then you obviously have the ability to bring Jota on and even switch it up to a more focal point orientated attack with Darwin Nunez. But like you're looking at like with Luis Diaz and Salah, they're not wide playmakers. They're more like inverted wingers, and they're almost wide strikers. They play that far up the pitch. And when you've got like 3 strikers in Nunez, Diaz and Salah, you haven't got those people creating the opportunities. Like Salah and Diaz aren't going to be creating the same amount of opportunities as like a Bernardo Silva or a Phil Foden does for Haaland, because they're different types of players. So potentially there's an issue there in the way they're setting up. And obviously the fact now that Trent's having an absolute stinker of a season. Robbo's had a stinker and he's out injured.
Yeah.
They're not
They're
getting.
both out
They're
injured
not
now, aren't they?
exactly,
Trent's
and that's
injured.
why they were so effective, because they had wide playmakers in their left back and right back.
Yeah.
But those players can't get up the pitch anymore because defensively they're so fragile.
Yeah.
And it just seems like they're second guessing everything. Liverpool, when they were good and when they had that intensity, it was instinctual.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They were literally 1, 2, 3 transition and they were gone and you couldn't catch them and they would score.
Yeah.
And from Alisson up to whoever scored the goal, whether it be Salah or Jota or Diaz or Mane, it was seconds. It was quick and it was instinctual,
Yeah.
but they're lacking that bite this season.
100%. You've got a very astute tactical observation written down here. Henderson is shit. Talk to me about that one.
I was thinking about this, so
Clearly.
yeah, I didn't have to think about it for long, but you look at some of the best midfielders in the world, or like in the history of football, you're looking at the prime example is probably Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets, right? Best midfield ever.
Yeah.
What does Jordan Henderson do that is reminiscent of any of those players?
Yeah.
I mean, you've got
I've seen people put him in the conversation with the likes of Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard.
I just, honestly, Thiago is a baller, right?
Yeah.
I think you'd even agree with that.
Yeah,
He's a tempo
He does
machine.
frustrate me a little bit, though.
He's a tempo machine, and he can do a little bit of dirty work as well, and he can be a bit of a box-to-box when he needs to.
Yeah.
Fabinho, probably one of the better number 6s in the league on his day.
Mm.
So you've got sort of like a Busquets and maybe maybe a Xavi Iniesta hybrid in Thiago. He does a little bit of both, but not as well, obviously. Get yourself another fucking player in that midfield. Get Jude in there. Because Henderson, what the fuck does he do apart from get loud?
He does.
Occasionally, he'll do a successful across the field pass, and everyone's like, he's got that in his locker. But 9 times out of 10, he sits on the edge of the box. The ball come out to him, he'll absolutely shank a volley.
Yeah,
and
he's a bit of a work rate merchant, isn't he?
Yeah, and I know you're looking for leadership on the pitch, yeah. But you've still got players like Van Dijk on the pitch, you know.
Yeah.
Fabinho's not a quiet man either.
No.
Alisson will orchestrate his defence. So you've got voice on the pitch anyway. You're Liverpool FC at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But get yourself a fucking midfielder in there who could do something for the team as opposed to just being a loud cunt. I don't dislike Jordan Henderson. I don't dislike him. But if you want to be a top team, Jordan Henderson doesn't get anywhere near it.
Yeah, you can't have any players that are getting carried, and he's getting carried.
Obviously, he gets into the team because he's Liverpool through and through. He's a leader. But it gets to a point where you have to think, if we want to be the top team in the league in the world, you don't have time to carry players.
A 30. How old is he? 31?
It'd be funny, yeah, but
you can't have him in your team.
You would start Calvin Phillips over him.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And Calvin Phillips is sitting on Man City's bench.
Yeah. Start Sambi Lokonga over him.
Probably, yeah.
No, maybe.
Honestly, I probably would. But they need to get someone in that midfield. If they don't get Jude Bellingham, I do worry.
Yeah, so do I. To be fair.
I don't think Hendo's shit though. I just want to put it out there. I don't think he's shit, but I do not think he's of the caliber to be
I'll show you the
in a Liverpool team.
It says Henderson is shit.
He doesn't have the caliber. He's not that.
Nah, he has. He's had his kind of moment. He shouldn't. They should be weaning him out.
He's James Milner-esque in terms of he's there throughout pure work rate and commitment and leadership, right? Which are all valuable commodities to have. But you need to have some sort of technical ability, and he just doesn't have it.
Yeah, he shouldn't be playing upwards of 40 games a season for you. He should be playing the easy Champions League group stage games. Say if you've got a hectic schedule and you're playing a lower league team or the Carabao Cup, get Jordan Henderson in that for it. But hard Prem games like Arsenal game or hard Champions League games like the Napoli game, you can't have Henderson starting now still.
And the thing is,
he's done.
He's never the worst performer on the pitch.
Yeah.
Because he gets stuck because he gets stuck in and he's loud, he's vocal, and he's always there and thereabout. But he's but in that way he sort of goes through games.
Yeah.
And he'll never get ripped to shreds because he doesn't really make mistakes.
He's not really in a position.
He's not progressive, and he doesn't benefit you from being on the pitch.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think their creativity problems. You can't, like you're saying, Salah and Diaz aren't creating opportunities. They're there to finish opportunities. And then the midfield, apart from Thiago, who, like you say, is a tempo man, but for me, he doesn't assist enough.
He's not an advanced playmaker.
He doesn't really do much in the final third. It's all the middle third. And so you need, and Fabinho's obviously the defensive third. So the other midfielder should be doing the Bernardo Silva, the De Bruyne work.
Mason Mount.
The stitching the game together. The money Mace.
Mason Mount would be a phenomenal.
Henderson doesn't do the defensive stuff that well. Doesn't do the dictating the tempo stuff well. And then doesn't do the final third kind of assisting well enough. All he does, his role specifically was there to cover an advanced Trent.
Yeah, 100%.
But now Trent is dead food. His role is completely obsolete.
Should we talk about Trent's struggles this season just before we close out this segment?
Yeah, 100%.
Do you think it's over for him?
Yeah.
You think it's over for him?
Oh, define over.
Do you think like he's going to do a Dele Alli now?
Oh, no. He's done too much. Dele Alli was washed for time.
Do you think
he's won the Champions League and the Premier League by 21? He's different.
Kyle Walker's just gone up. Kyle Walker's had his surgery now. Reece James went off injured last night. Still waiting on that. It didn't look too bad.
Trent is injured.
Could have been precautionary.
You know what I think?
Trippier.
Ben White's our best right back.
Yeah. I'm not mad at it.
Defensively, he does what Reece James does.
Yeah.
Attacking, he's not on the same level as
But we don't
Trent.
need that. We've got the attacking. Yeah.
If you play four at the back, Ben White would facilitate four at the back so well, because then you can tuck in and do the three that Arsenal do. It would be so good for Ben White.
And Harry Maguire can have a centre back who knows what he's doing next to him.
Genuinely, for me, Ben White is England's starting right back.
Is he better than Trippier as a right back?
Defensively, yeah.
Oh,
going forward, he's the worst out of
all of them.
Out of Trent, Reece, Trippier, Walker. But he's probably on par with Walker going forward. And Trips.
We've gone from having an abundance of right backs to having
getting
just none.
shagged. But yeah, for me, Ben White is the number one option in my opinion.
Fair enough. Yeah.
If Arsenal are top of the league come the start of the World Cup, which is looking like we will, how can you not?
When have you got City?
Firstly, both times next year, because we would have had them World Cup time, but it got moved.
That's the last thing I want to say before we round this out, this segment. Do Arsenal have enough in the bank, in that squad? Do they have enough ammunition to shoot down Manchester City?
I don't know. I want to say, if it's like starting 11 versus starting 11, yeah. If they get an injury to a number of man, they can replace them with like a pretty much on par replacement.
When Gabriel Jesus went down,
oh my God, I thought he was dead. Bruv, I thought he died. The way his face planted, and then all the man were like, get over here. I was like, oh my God, what if he's done like a Christian Eriksen?
Yeah.
But he was fine. But yeah, City, they can replace fucking De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Grealish, blah, blah, blah.
They've got a plethora of centre-backs.
So many. Like, their centre-backs are a joke. They lost Stones and Stones and Laporte, and they're playing Diaz, Akanji, and Nathan Ake, and it's still as good.
Yeah.
But us, we've got replacement in some areas, like Tierney, Zinchenko, Saka, you can play that Marquinhos, Smith Rowe, blah, blah.
Lokonga.
But Partey, I like Zambi, but if Partey gets injured, it's problems. I like Nketiah, but if Jesus gets injured, problems.
No one can replace what Jesus.
And then maybe even if Saliba gets injured, problems.
I'm arguing, that Jesus is the key to your intensity. He's is
crazy.
The start and the finish of the intensity. He will press the man until he has nothing left to give.
Yeah, he's so good.
And everyone else sees that and thinks, right, it's my turn. I need to go push him. I need to go cut that channel. And he's without a doubt Arsenal's most important player for me.
Do you know that pet me when Aguero left? He was like, we cannot replace him. That's how I feel about Gabriel Jesus.
But it's actually true this time.
Yeah, 100%. So yeah, my opinion is if it's 11 versus 11, Arsenal can keep up. But if there's injuries, City can replace those injuries.
Can the apprentice beat the master? Can Arteta triumph over Guardiola? Well, we'll have to wait till next year to find out. We've got a lot of football to talk about between then and now.
Just going to round it up with a come on Arsenal!
I hope... I think, do you know what? I don't see another team in the league that can stop Arsenal at the minute, apart from Man City.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they faltered against United, but that was due to United's play style. I think they just turned up on the day against Arsenal.
Yeah, you have one of those days.
But
yeah, we're cooking.
Yeah, you're cooking with gas.
Eating good, baby.
Cooking with gas, yeah. All right, cool. We talk about Arsenal. We talk about Liverpool. We're going to go discuss some of the other fixtures that took place.
Took place this weekend.
Yeah. And we'll be back. Go get a drink or something. Enjoy.
Yeah, get a beer, mate.
Get a beer. We are back.
We are indeed.
Time to talk about the other games that happened in the Premier League this weekend. We're going to kick it off. We don't want to talk about them too much because we've spent probably 24 episodes talking about them primarily. But it is Pep Guardiola's Citizens.
Pep Guardiola.
You got a correct result in your predictions this week with them.
I did.
You
I'm
predicted a
still
4-0.
falling behind you, but yeah, this was the one that I got smack on the money.
Yeah, so Man City 4 and the Saints failed to score.
I was watching lower league football while this was on. We went to a local match at St Albans. Shout out the Saints. They're called their nickname. But
Was it 1-0 and they scored in like the last minute?
It was indeed. But while we were there, obviously this game was on, and everyone and their nan had Haaland captain for fantasy, and so everybody was watching the match. But like fucking goals were going in this game, and everyone was like, "Not Haaland, not Haaland, not Haaland." And then, lastly but not leastly, Haaland bags a goal.
I want to discuss something. Yeah,
It's easy money.
is Cancelo the best right back in the world?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's different. He's different,
Yeah.
gravy. Trent could learn a thing or two.
What, is he the best right back? I said that quite flippantly, didn't I? Nah, he probably is. I can't really think of someone better.
He is unbelievable.
Because going forward, he doesn't do what Trent does in terms of like what Trent does, which is like whipping, rough, whippy crosses.
He's always around the box.
What what Cancelo does is kind of fucking. He spams that outside of the boot cross, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then he's like a little playmaker, whereas Trent's not. He's kind of just like a crosser.
Nah, Trent's a wide playmaker, whereas Cancelo's more of an inverted fullback, isn't he? Like he's always in and around the edge of the box.
Like Cancelo's attacking IQ is higher than Trent's.
Trent just whips it in.
With
Trent,
great
technique.
Yeah, Trent is like every time let me hit that 6-yard box with a cross. Hit that, but Cancelo is doing like patterns of play around the edge of the box. And that's what I want. I want like fucking naughty tech men everywhere.
And he can play right back and left back, and he's just amazing. He's an amazing player.
Yeah.
Phil Foden getting on the score sheet again and an assist.
He's killing it.
He's decided, Gareth, I'm going to show you why I'm the fucking England star boy. Him and Saka battling it out for star boy status.
What I fucking said in the England episode that we did. I was like, it cannot be him versus Saka. It has to be them two both on the pitch.
They
somehow
have to be on the pitch.
Time.
They have to.
They do different roles, and they do those different roles.
In different positions.
The best out of every England player. Like Phil Foden does, he does like that attacking midfielder central, the best out of any England option. And Saka does best aggressive wide right winger, best out of any England player.
100%.
So they both got to be playing.
100% agree.
Thanks, man.
Eventually, Haaland did get on the score sheet.
He did indeed.
They're still undefeated in the league.
Yeah.
Have they only dropped points to Aston Villa?
Aston Villa and someone else. Or is it just Aston Villa?
I can't remember now.
Nah, they'd be ahead of us if it was just Aston Villa.
But yeah, I mean, can anyone actually stop this Man City team? Are they unstoppable? I know after their Champions League game last night, there's a few injury concerns. Obviously, Haaland didn't play. Apparently, his muscles are a bit in distress. So potentially, maybe no Haaland this weekend against Liverpool. Ooh.
It could be a
Phil
battery.
had, I think Pep put it as disturbing issues. So I'm not sure what that means, but I'm presuming it's an injury-related problem as opposed to him like having nightmares or something. But yeah,
nightmares about James.
Mahrez had a bit of a disaster class, didn't he, last night?
Yeah, I think Mahrez is kind of like he's still so good, but I think he's like kind of on his way out from being starting 11. Probably like one of the first names on the team sheet.
He needs more. He needs consistent play time to build up the confidence.
100%. I think he needs to move. I think he's kind of hit his kind of. Like you said, he is now at a stage where like he was like Sterling last year, where Sterling was getting like 1 in every 3 games, and players as good as Sterling, players as good as Mahrez, they need to be first name on the team sheet every single week, and he's not going to get that in this City team. Sterling realised that and left. I think Mahrez will probably come to that. Although I think he signed a new deal quite recently. But
yeah,
I think Mahrez should probably move.
But yeah, he missed a penalty last night as well, didn't he? and apparently he's missed like 30% of his
They're
penalties.
so bad at penalties. I know Haaland will probably come in and smash them all in from now on, but
They just really have no right to be.
I remember one
the techie players
season that they had like 5 penalties in a row and just kept missing them. Oh, it's so funny. But what I want to say about City is they've got kind of like a mindset advantage going into every game over every team, because with Haaland, players will see his stats and be like, fuck me, as a defender, I need to mark my life on this guy. Like, don't let him near the ball. And if they overcompensate on Haaland, the rest of the men are going to score. It's not like Haaland is their only good player. Like Man United when Cristiano Ronaldo came back and everybody else was shit apart from Ronaldo. So all you need to do is mark Ronaldo out of the game and the rest is a myth. It's not the case with City. If you mark Haaland out of the game, as hard as that is, they got De Bruyne, they got Foden, they got Mahrez, they got Silva, Grealish. They're going to get bags of goals anyway, like we saw last season when they won the league without Haaland.
Julian Alvarez as well.
So now teams will mark Haaland, be like, oh yeah, we got him, keep him quiet for 90 minutes, but they'll lose 5-0 because the rest of them will score.
But the problem is, yeah, you can mark Haaland, but it won't do anything.
Nah, he will fucking
still,
boy you off anyway.
He's still just... Did you see the tweets about his
younger cousin?
Younger cousin, but
mate, I didn't believe it.
The man has put a fucking Preston North End goal over it, and then no one's questioned it. It was the Preston goal where they absolutely screamed it in from the left hand side. The Donny's got his foot up, and it's an absolute outrageous goal. The video quality is like 240p,
like
so you can't even tell what it is. And everyone's just like, he's the next coming of Haaland, and like. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Don't believe everything you read on football Twitter because it's mainly shit.
Luke ITK.
That's the one. I saw one where it's like Mbappe's younger cousin was St. Maximan scoring. But, yeah. Nah, I just as well as Arsenal are, as well as Arsenal are doing, I fail to see how a team stops Man City win the league. They are putting 3, 4, 5 past every team. I know Southampton aren't the best team in the league, and they're not
probably one of the worst at the moment.
Yeah, they're not great at not conceding goals, especially they like their 9-0s.
Yeah,
but yeah, I just fail to see a team where City can't. They have the answer to everything. Even if a team sets up with a deep block, they have the keys to unlock it. If a team sets up with a high press, you're going to concede 7 goals. Like, there is nothing you can do to stop this team. They are the best team in the world.
Yeah, 100%. We did just say that, and then they fucking somehow draw 0-0 to Copenhagen, but it's a different box of frogs.
Rested a lot of key players, though.
Yeah, 100%. They're going to smoke Liverpool. Yeah, I just think they're a problem, and they'll keep pushing on, and it's up to the sweet Arsenal boys to stop them.
Can Arteta
make you wetter?
Pep's got a clay.
Yeah, moving on.
Move on to
one disgustingly oil-rich
team to another.
Yeah, Bosch, Newcastle.
Saudi money.
The Toons.
Bruno Guimaraes.
BoreDraw player of the week.
Unbelievable. Do you know, that's probably more... I would rather get
bigger
BoreDraw
accolade
player of the week. Yeah. Than man of the match, than Premier League player of the month.
Ballon d'Or's coming up soon.
Yeah, but BoreDraw
is that
player
anything on BoreDraw player of the week?
Oh, no, probably not. 2 goals from the boy. There's a question that was being flying around on the Twitter sphere. Is he the best player outside the top 6?
Yeah, I was going to put that in the post when I tweeted about him being... But I went with he's the jewel in the crown of this Newcastle team.
Is he better than James Maddison?
Ooh.
Is he better than Wilfred Zaha?
Is he better than Declan Rice?
Yeah.
Ooh!
Yeah, he is.
Oh, you know what? That's a big shout. We should do it. So we did the... last week we did the Ericsson and Basuma versus Højbjerg and Bentancur.
Maybe that's what we should do.
Question.
We should do a little post where we've got both our top Premier League 11 from every team outside the top 6. But
We'll
like not the top 6, but the big 6. So no Spurs, no Tottenham, no Spurs, no Arsenal, no Liverpool, City, United, and Chelsea.
But I'll do a post after this. I'll do who do you think the best player outside the top 6 is, and we'll have James Maddison, Declan Rice,
Wilfred Zaha,
Bruno Guimaraes.
Who else? There's got to be someone massive we're missing.
We'll do a couple left and right.
Jared Bowen. Probably wouldn't even. Yeah.
Nah, not really. Maybe Iwobi.
Iwobi's my player of the season.
We'll talk about my man
Iwobi.
Iwobi in a
Iwobi's
minute.
my player of the season.
We'll talk about him
But
in a minute. We'll quickly touch on the United game because that was actually an interesting game. But yeah, Newcastle, they are running away now. I think they had a slow start, but they hadn't actually been beaten, I think, or been beaten once, I think. But yeah, I think they're lucky in the sense that Wilson got injured, Isak came in, Isak got injured, Wilson's back. I like Callum Wilson a lot.
Wilson's looking really good.
Yeah, I like Callum Wilson a
lot. And
lot.
could potentially be a rogue shout for the England squad if he can stay fit. Because he's very dynamic compared to like Abraham and Kane. He's very dynamic.
Yeah, 100%.
In terms of his play style.
And then a midfield unit of Bruno, Joe Linton and Joe Willock, or swap Joe Willock for John Joe Shelvey when John Joe Shelvey comes back.
They haven't even got the best Willock brother and they're still doing well.
That's mad. Yeah, that is mad. But yeah, I like the Newcastle team a lot. I think, we said this a couple of times, the defensive unit is so solid. And yeah, going forward, if Bruno gets you 2 goals from centre midfield, he's quality. And then Almiron's kicking on as well this season.
Yeah, Almiron is always
electric.
You can always see a player in Almiron.
Just final product.
It's just the final product wasn't there, and he started to kick on a bit this season. So it'd be interesting to see. I think Trippier, obviously, he came in was it January last year?
Yeah,
and he really turned their fortune around.
Yeah, that was like the first signing of the new era, wasn't it?
And yeah, he's just super important to them. His set pieces are unbelievable. Yeah, it'd be a very good asset to have in that England team potentially for the World Cup.
Maybe even him at left back, Ben White at right back.
We've seen it before. Well, we haven't seen it before, but we've seen Trippier like that before.
Yeah, Brentford, are they hitting a bit of a rut? They haven't won a game, I think, in 5 now, since the Leeds win.
Yeah, I mean, we saw, obviously, last season, first season in the Premier League, and they started really strong, and then they've sort of faltered about getting towards Christmas time. They bought in Ericsson in January on like a free, and then
that kicked
them back up, and they had a really good spell, and then they sort of fallen off again. And they started the season quite well. Obviously, the massive result against United. They picked up points here and there. But I do worry, they don't really have anything too special about them. They've got good players, but our team's now able to find them out quite easily.
It's interesting to know what their remit would be. Because, obviously, they came up first time ever being in the Prem. And I'd say they're kind of not, safe. They've only been in the Prem 2 seasons now, but
they were established almost after their first season.
I wouldn't even put them in the conversation for relegation, and that's kudos to Thomas Frank and the squad that they're above that already, and they've only been here a season when teams like Fulham are obviously playing all right this season, but the likes of Fulham, Watford, Bournemouth, and that
Norwich,
they come up. They can be here for a couple of seasons, but you're always they'll get relegated soon.
They're always relegation fodder, yeah.
Whereas Brentford, they've only been here a season and a half now, and already just think they're too good for relegation, which is fair play to them.
Fair play, yeah. Newcastle, do you think that they'll be in and around that top 6 potential come the end of the season?
Yeah, I think I had them 7th in my, or 8th. I think I had them 8th in my table predictions for the end of the year. And I think that'll be about right. I think they'll get 7th or 8th. I think they'll benefit maybe from West Ham not really being on it so far this season. Same with United, and maybe even Liverpool. If they don't kick on, that's another space that they could bop themselves up. But yeah, I think they'll be all right.
Yeah, I think
they're doing it in a steady pace. They don't.
Do you know what? I thought their owners are going to come in and spend stupid money.
Yeah, now they've
recruited really well.
Yeah,
and I think Isaac's going to be a really good player when he comes back from injury. And you've got the likes of Bruno Guimaraes, you've got Trippier, Nick Pope as Botman. You've got St. Maximan as well. You've got players, real good players, quality players. So yeah, be interesting to see how they fare throughout the season. Is there any other games that tickle your fancy?
Spurs beat Brighton 1-0. They're boring. Next.
But we'd like to send our condolences to
Gianpiero,
yeah.
Is that his name?
Yeah, but the Spurs fitness coach who passed away.
Yeah,
obviously that's very sad. And did you see the Harry Kane interview after the game?
Yeah, he did look a bit upset, didn't he?
Yeah, so obviously a difficult time. They went out and they've obviously done him proud, so congratulations to them.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts for us to say it.
Yeah, no, hold tight.
We're a family of football.
Yeah,
we're
come on, hold tight.
Rivalry society.
Any man that dies, you don't like that. So
I will move on from that steadily. Yeah, obviously Spurs won 1-0. They're keeping up their
Crystal
track record.
Palace Leeds. That was a good game.
My boy.
Eze, tech man.
Did you see the drop of the shoulder? Bosh, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was was it Josh Windass on Twitter?
Oh, I went for his ankles.
Josh Windass, he's a QPR fan, played for Sheffield Wednesday. He tweeted that
Goal.
Eberechi Eze, Emil Smith Rowe couldn't lace Eze's boots.
He had the gall,
which I don't think is.
He got a little bit carried away.
It wasn't.
I bit so hard,
but
because
there is a conversation
ESR
to be had.
Fanboy.
So after that happened, obviously Roz went out and he was like, "By the way, this is Emil Smith Rowe got double digits in the season, whatever." We've had Eze in the Premier League for like 2 seasons, and he was out for like 9 months of one of them. I think there's a conversation to be had though, but they are completely different players.
Different players. One is more central. One plays more wide. Different kind
Eze
of. They have like similar
playing,
kind of profile in terms of what
like
they
their
do.
Technicality, yeah.
Yeah, they're both like
very good in tight space,
carrying the ball, getting out of tight spaces. So I get that comparison, but for me,
it's also very hard to compare a player who's playing in a team like Crystal Palace
to one that's played for
Arsenal,
100%.
Especially in this current Arsenal team. I mean, I know he hasn't played much this season.
I think Eze's probably better at controlling the game, whereas Smith Rowe, I think I used the stat that he got double-digit goals, because for me, Smith Rowe's better in the final third than Eze.
I was looking at SofaScore, though, and comparing their 2 full seasons. So Eze has a higher pass percentage, completion, more key passes, more dribbles, and a higher average match rate than Emil Smith Rowe. But do you think that's because it's hard to shine in a
yeah? I was going to say
glittering with diamonds.
If that full season, are you talking about where he was at QPR?
No,
Crystal Palace.
Crystal Palace.
Well, I think
that's
he's
his
just like
first season
he's
when
like,
he got, like
the main man in that team, isn't he? Or kind of
Eze.
like just like everything flows through him.
You've got
You're playing him
Zaha, Elise, and
Elise wasn't there when he had that full season. Though.
No, obviously not. But Zaha is the main man at Palace. But yeah, I mean, it's an interesting conversation to have.
I don't know, but yeah, I bit because he said he wasn't fit to lace.
That's obviously not that's nowhere near true because Emil Smith Rowe is an absolute baller.
Yeah, couple of years younger.
But you know what? We're blessed with ballers in this country.
We are. They should both be getting in the England.
They should be lacing each other's boots, man.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, when they're playing for England in the World Cup final.
Yeah, good result for Crystal Palace because they were looking a bit dry. I think they hadn't won
Bit of a sticky spell
in a while. So yeah, good to get some points on the board.
And Jesse Marsh after was it 0-0 against Villa last week, and then
yeah, that was a good 0-0 though because they were down to 10 men. But
Bamford should have scored.
Yeah,
he looks
it's
like
good
a player.
to see Bamford back though. I like.
Yeah,
Bamford.
he was getting into a lot of dangerous positions, but he didn't have that instinctual striker's sort of like finish.
He's probably a bit
which
rusty,
is
I
obviously
guess.
from a lack of like intense play time. You can play as many under 23 games as you want, but you're not going to get that intensity of the Premier League. That split second decision making down. Anything to round up this section?
Nah, we'll come back. We'll cover a couple more and then we'll do our predictions.
Oh, Bournemouth. Let's quickly talk about Bournemouth.
Hold tight, Gary O'Neill. What a man.
QPR legend Gary O'Neill. He's undefeated in 5.
Took over an absolutely shagged Bournemouth team. They'd just been 9-0'd. Imagine having to kind of regather a group of players that have just been
9-0.
absolutely embarrassed. Embarrassed,
yes.
And they've been like absolutely ruined on TV by a team that are now lower in the league than them, which is crazy. But
2 wins and 3 draws in
2 wins and 3 draws.
That's unbelievable.
Very decent.
Because I had Bournemouth rock bottom of my predictions.
So did I.
They stink.
Yeah, that's going to be an L for us. If
I
they
don't really know. I still can't see them staying up.
It's crazy that they're 8th and we still think they'll get relegated.
But Gary O'Neill is a man of tactical genius. I mean, he made a play in the playoff final to save QPR. Eventually got us promoted. He might just be a football genius.
Yeah, no, I like Gary O'Neill. I think he just does everything quite understated. We said this when he first came in. Just sort out the defence.
Go about your business quietly.
Yeah, 100%.
And then make the accumulation of that quietness speak loud. You know
we'll
what I mean?
Talk for you, Gary.
Real talk. Yeah, don't worry. Gary, we're not seeing it. We're making sure it's highlighted. So
Yeah, nah.
Good job.
Shout
good
out
job.
the Cherries.
But yeah, we're going to take a little break and then we'll be back with our predictions. We've got a spicy game week next week.
We do.
It's very spicy, very
do.
spicy, very nice.
Before we move on to the predictions, Steven Gerrard, is it his time to go? It's time to go!
But, speaking of people getting sacked, do you see all the Leicester shit about they had like you get your
Brendan out. That's good.
Yeah, Brendan out and Zach Rodgers.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. But anyway, back to Villa and Gerrard's terrible
Who's
football.
getting sacked first? Rodgers or Gerrard?
Steven Gerrard, mate.
Do you reckon? Yeah, you're saying.
They haven't
He doesn't have as much credit in the bank as Rodgers does.
No. Who was the manager before Gerrard?
Fucking Dean Smith.
Dean Smith, yeah. Since Dean Smith, they haven't improved.
Nah, not at all.
Obviously,
he's
they lost
got a
Grealish
worse record at
than
Villa
Tim Sherwood.
than Tim Sherwood and that Gary Neville had at Valencia.
Obviously, yeah. The football they're playing is dry.
So dry,
And
man.
honestly,
Every week I know they're not going to score more than one goal.
I hate to bring it back to QPR, but it is the lack of Mick Bill.
It
It
might
really
be.
is. And Villa fans have been saying it. I mean, we've got
It's so dry.
we've got one of their midfielders, Tim Irabonum, on loan, and he had an absolute blinder.
Oh, he did. I watched that game.
Yeah, he had an absolute blinder against Reading. He was phenomenal.
Yeah.
He looks like a real talent. Obviously, they lost Chukwuemeka as well.
Yeah. Or just for the attacking talent they've got in their team, they shouldn't be struggling
Ollie
to
Watkins
get
is just
more than
always
a goal.
offside, man.
More than a goal a game.
He's
That's
ISO
so
Speed
bad.
IRL. Not like Speed is a real person, but
Shout out Speed.
him and Speed have the same knowledge of the offside rule.
Yeah, it's so bad. Like, yeah, he scored a goal that was offside, but he was so far offside. There was like not even like a VAR call was needed. He was like literally a mile off when the ball got played across to the 6
But
yard box.
he's a good player.
Yeah,
Like, someone just teach him.
he
the
can't
offside
be your striker. He needs to play out on the wing.
Yeah, 100%. Get Cameron Archer up front. He's an absolute.
Yeah, actually, his
baller.
little cameo in that game was actually
Yeah,
quite good.
Cameron
But
Archer is elite. But yeah, Villa just look
dry,
devoid
I'd
of
get rid of
ideas.
it. There's managers out there that I think would have the job. Dyche, I think, would do a better job. I don't really rate Nuno Espirito Santo that
do a
much,
better job than-
but he'd do a better
yeah.
job than Steven Gerrard. There's managers out there that could do more.
After his stint at Rangers, I thought him out of like Rooney and Lampard, that sort of like that trio, obviously ex-England like Mandem. I thought he was the best manager out of all of them.
Dry.
But Lampard's absolutely doing bits at Everton, which is fair play to him. We said that last week. Rooney did a really good job at Derby. I know he's gone over to the States now to manage, but he done a really good job with an absolute lack of any. Like, he couldn't spend anything.
Yeah, no help
They were
at all.
losing money just left, right, and centre. They lost players, really big players. So, but Gerrard, he just looks devoid of any tactical nuance, and it's very hard to see. Obviously, he had Mick Beale at Rangers as well, but they weren't great last season, and they've got worse this season. And if you're a Villa fan, I'd be very worried. They need to make a change, and it'd be interesting to see potentially maybe go for a swoop for Rodgers. I think that's what Rodgers needs. I think he needs a fresh start at a different club.
Yeah, maybe.
But
Yeah, for me, Villa are dry.
this is the
I
time.
don't like them anyway, but it's just like they got to be doing better.
This is the time to make a change. Michael Jackson.
You can sing this one.
I'm not gonna. I forgot how it went.
Time to make a change.
But yeah, no, we need to.
We need to stop.
Villa
singing.
needs to make
It's
a
what we
change.
need
You
to
come
do.
up to the World Cup now. You're gonna have a big
Yeah.
break. Get a manager in. Get him used to the players who aren't going to go to the World Cup. Get him to see who you can work out with, and just that club just needs something to revitalise because they've got talent. They've got ballers in that team, and when it's not working with that sort of level, it's issues, big issues.
Coutinho has 1 goal contribution in his last 20 appearances.
But they went out and they spent money on like Leon Bailly. They've bought in Coutinho on a permanent. They obviously bought in Douglas Costa. He got injured. Kamara as well. Like
Danny
Ings, Luca Digne. Like
It's dry.
Matty Cash. They've spent money.
Yeah, fuck
And it's
them.
like these players are all individually very good players, and it's just not working.
And that's Steven Gerrard's fault.
And yeah, at the end of the day, it's got to come down to like something. It lies with the players, but it also lies with the manager. Like, really does. So yeah,
Gigs
Villa.
at the end of the season.
If you're out there, you're Villa CEO watching this, because we know who they do, sack him, and he can get a job.
Don't back him. Sack him.
He can become a pundit on BoreDraw.
Come on, Stevie G.
Stevie
mate,
G.
Get on here.
But yeah,
We'll get on to predictions because we're chatting shit.
We're just waffling now. Yeah.
Friday night football. Brentford versus Brighton.
Oh, I've been fairly impressed with Brighton on the De Zerbi so far.
Yeah, De Zerbi ball be looking kind of good.
But Brentford are in need of a bounce back, and I
Yeah.
think after a battering at Newcastle, they might just do that. It is at Brentford's home park. It's not the greatest game to be setting up Friday night, though, is it?
No, but I do like both these teams and kind of what their like ideas playing football are.
I think
It's
Brighton
both
are
very
what Brentford
attacking.
could be in like 2 years.
Yeah,
you know what I
they
mean?
both
Like,
play quite nice attacking football.
very smart recruitment.
Like, very smart recruitment, 2 smart managers. Fucking Brighton were all over Spurs in the 1-0. Oh, is the mic going to fall down? That's an L.
I've recovered it. Don't
Okay.
worry, guys. No, I haven't.
Okay, we'll be back in. We'll be back in a second.
The table's just died. The mic has been recovered.
All good. No need
All
to
good.
panic.
Yeah, don't worry, guys.
The ghetto setup
ghetto.
lives on.
Yeah. Brighton, Brentford. What were we saying? Yeah, Brentford could beat that team that Brighton were. They are now.
Yeah.
They're very smart in terms of their recruitment and everything. But yeah, I don't know whether they've got enough to stop this. I mean, like I said, I've been impressed with De Zerbi
Yeah.
and Brighton. So
they were all over Spurs, and on another day they win that game 2-1. So for me, I'll start the scoring. I think it's going to be a 2-1 Brighton.
I'm gonna go for a 2-0 Brighton.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Saturday early kick-off. I'm going to be at the races.
You are going to be at the races,
But who hasn't been at the races recently? Leicester versus Palace. Did you like that little segue?
They put in a performance against what's their name the other week?
Oh, Leicester.
Yeah,
Nottingham Forest.
against Forest,
Yeah.
which it doesn't say
I
much,
feel like
but
I could put on a performance against Nottingham Forest.
obviously, and then they go and lose to Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Like what?
And they were 1-0 up as well. Just like they just lose so many fucking. I think that happened when they played Brentford. They were 2-0 up and then shat the bed in that game.
But yeah, Palace
Not
obviously
looking
off a good result against Leeds.
It's not looking good, bro.
I think they might. I think they might have a. Yeah, I think I might have too much for this
think
Leicester
they will.
team who are just very, very poor.
Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers will be really feeling the pressure after they lose 2-0. No, they're going to lose 3-1 to Crystal Palace.
I was going to go 2-0.
Yeah, I realised I went 2-0 for Brighton, so I thought 3-1.
Yeah, that's what happens to me. Other scores I say kind of like pollute my brain, and then I can't be totally impartial. But yeah,
Battle of the
I
newly
reckon
promoted teams.
Palace will win that.
Battle of the automatically promoted teams in Fulham and Bournemouth.
That'll be a good game.
Yeah, it will be. Yeah.
What was that?
I don't know. I'm starting losing my mind a bit.
The two teams are like doing better than everyone expected them. Like we both had them in our relegation zone. So
if you would ask me who's going to win out of Fulham and Bournemouth maybe 5 weeks ago, it would have been clear cut.
oh yeah,
But Fulham have, they got
no
battered.
Mitro potentially.
Well, yeah, no Mitro. They lost 4-1 to Newcastle, didn't they? And then
5-1.
yeah, just
Yeah.
they're not having the greatest time at the minute. Perhaps that sort of bounce back into the Premier League is sort of worn off. I know Mitro obviously been out injured. Fuck you because that fucked my fantasy. But yeah, I mean Bournemouth are just looking very solid, which I didn't think I'd say about Bournemouth at any point in the season.
After you ship 9 goals for a couple of weeks later to say they're looking quite solid is
It's a bit of a turnaround.
quite the turnaround, yeah.
But I think this might be I do fancy Fulham.
I hope she fancies you too.
Thank you. I was going to go for a draw, but I might go for a 1-0 Fulham.
I reckon there's goals in this game, I'm going to go for a 3-1 Fulham.
3-1. Very
I
interesting.
think poor old Gary O'Neill is going to get his first L in
At
charge
the
of,
hand on Marco Silva.
potentially. Who knows? My predictions have been shit, so don't hold me
Managerless
to that.
Wolverhampton Wanderers versus currently
The driest
still
team.
instated manager with a new deal, Steve Cooper.
This is a dry game.
Yeah. I mean, Dennis scored, didn't he, on Monday?
Yeah, he did.
But yeah, it wasn't.
He had a bit of a shit game, though.
Dean Henderson has conceded more goals than any keeper from outside the box. Like his save percentage of compared to the XG against him is so poor. And I was saying that he'd be my England team, but honestly, he's had an absolute stinker this season, and it probably doesn't fill you with a lot of confidence if you're any of those defenders. But I think, I mean, this is just a dead game, isn't it?
I'm going to go 1-1.
I think I might go for a 2-1 Wolves. I think they might score a couple goals in this one. Who knows?
This
Don't
will be a
really
good
care.
game. Spurs, don't care. Spurs, Everton.
I want to see Spurs unleashed. I want to see this Spurs team.
If they win another game 1-0, I swear I might off myself because they're so boring.
That's kind of the Conte way, isn't it?
It is, but I swear it's just dry.
Everton, we didn't talk about them, but Everton against Man United, they actually had a very good
That's right.
performance.
Iwobi had the most polarising game. He scored an absolute screamer, but then was pretty responsible for both Man United's goals. So One of those ones. But yeah, Everton look good in my opinion. And I think this will be a good... I said the same last week that Brighton would be a good challenge for Spurs, and they overcame that challenge. And this will be a good challenge for Spurs.
I think Everton have sort of adopted a pressing style of football, which I wasn't expecting under Frank Lampard. And I think any team that plays a press that doesn't have the quality of like an Arsenal or a Man City will fall to the traps of Antonio Conte's Spurs.
It's a very good observation.
So I do think that Everton will come undone. They have a very good defensive record. I know they shipped 2 to United, but they actually had, before that weekend, the best defence in the league, which was pretty mind-blowing to read because they're Everton. Yeah. But I think I'm going to go for a 3-0 Spurs.
3-0.
I think the goals have started coming and they won't stop coming.
And they won't stop coming. I've said this every single week. Spurs' defence, I have zero faith in them. So any Spurs prediction, they're conceding for me.
Better with Basuma on the pitch though.
But I do agree. I think Everton, in the fullback areas, I know Nathan Patterson's had a good start to the season, but for me, Son and if Kulusevski, who I think is fit at the moment, both start, they'll have a lot of joy. Pace-wise, they're going to burn.
Kane went off injured though
Tarkowski and
last
Cody.
week, didn't he?
He did. I think he'll be fine.
I think
he came out in the interview after and said he was fine.
Yeah, it might have just been precautionary.
So I do reckon it's going to be a Spurs win. I'm going to go 3-1.
3-1? Yeah, so I've gone 3-0, you've gone 3-1. Villa versus Chelsea could be quite an interesting game. We've got a manager who's sort of on a bounce in Graham Potter against one who's very
good result against AC Milan last night.
Very good result, very good performance as well. Obviously, Reece James went off injured.
Yeah.
Bit worrying for any England or Chelsea fans. Hopefully it's nothing serious though, because I have him in my fantasy team. And I think he's a baller. I think he's a very good player.
Yeah, no, he is.
Mason Mount looks like a revelation under Graham Potter.
Yeah, I tweeted this. I think
he's a very Graham Potter player.
Oh, such a Graham Potter player. Graham Potter player? Yeah, I think them two match made in heaven, and I think hopefully Mason Mount, he's always been a very good player, but I think he has the ability to get into like that conversation with like maybe just a little bit below Phil Foden. And he's been kind of slacking, and I think hopefully Potter will be able to. He's the kind of team, so like James, they should build kind of like the team around him and Mason Mount, and I think Mason Mount needs to be given the freedom, and I think Potter will allow that.
One of your mates, Aubameyang's popping up with a few goals here and there.
Dusted player. Did you see the little
the clip
that came out?
I mean, to be fair, it was sour at the time. He came out afterwards and was like, yeah, good luck to Arsenal apart from one in November when we play you. And that's fair enough. I mean, I don't care.
Sorry, now I'm not fussed. We're on to bigger and better things.
But yeah, obviously, Chukwuemeka as well so had his first full debut for Chelsea.
I reckon Chelsea slap Villa.
I agree. I'm going for 4-0.
I'm going for 3-0.
Big goals.
Villa offer absolutely
Villa don't
nothing.
ship too many goals though. And they're very good at deading games down. But I think that will play into Chelsea's hands.
I think Chelsea just slapped them, mate. I think there's got to be an underlying tension at Aston Villa at the moment. Just thinking like...
The away fans at the last game were singing Gerrard out.
So, yeah, I think they're like a heavy spanking away from him losing his job.
A very nice game. Very good game coming up on Sunday. Leeds versus Arsenal.
Yeah,
that is a tasty, tasty fixture.
Yeah, I think we run away with this game. I think it's a similar case to when we played them last season, that they're energetic, high press. It's a lot more organised under Jesse Marsch now, but that kind of playing style, the IQ of our players to get around that play style at the moment is like a different level, and I think
Leeds will be in for a spanking.
I think we could hit them.
Yeah, I'm going to go for 5.
Oh, that'd be fucking nice. I'm going to be a little bit more reserved. I'm going to go... Are we going to concede? Nah, I think we won't. 3-0.
3-0 and 5-0.
Yeah.
Man United, Newcastle.
This will be a good game.
Yeah, 100%. Like, Saturday's games are pretty dead. Friday, Saturday, game's dead.
Why have they got 4 games on at 2 o'clock?
I just don't know. I quite enjoyed having the United game on at later. Yeah, it was quite nice. Yeah. Obviously, it's not great for people.
Just an extra one to have on TV when you've got 4 games that you can't.
You can't call it Super Sunday where 4 of the games are on at the same time.
Yeah, it is trash. I know that. Yeah. Anyway,
United, Newcastle. Newcastle was a great result. United looking better. They're looking a bit more consistent in their play style.
Yeah, I think Newcastle, their play style is a bit more settled than Man United. Man United's still kind of learning it. I do agree.
Quality Man United team.
Yeah, it's Man United's quality, but less kind of learned play style versus Newcastle's pretty. They're like pretty much like 9. You know, on Football Manager when you like set a new tactic up and you get it to like 99% familiarity.
Yeah.
Newcastle are there, but their quality isn't as good as Man United in certain areas. But I think Newcastle will do a little something. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
You're going 2-1 Newcastle? I'm just going to go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw.
Yeah,
I like that.
I think...
I think it could be... Yeah, I think it'll be
tight.
tight. A tight
I think
game.
this is a really good game.
Yeah.
I think this could be a potential battle for top 6.
Don't
Southampton,
talk
West
to me
Ham.
if it's not champions of the league.
Can't believe Arsenal are going to win the World Cup. It's mental. Southampton versus West Ham, St Mary's, the Hammers down there. Can they do anything? Skamaka's starting to pick up his goal scoring
He
form,
is.
which is good to
Skamaka
hear.
looks good. Antonio's got a couple of goals recently. And not Newcastle, West Ham have a game tomorrow night, which is always a bit of a problem.
Yeah.
That kind of gets in the way.
Especially for a squad that don't have the same amount of depth as other teams in Europe.
Yeah.
Um,
But Southampton, they're struggling.
They look poor.
Struggling.
Poor. I think Hassan Hüttl's time might be up.
Yeah, it's like the Steven Gerrard thing where you're saying the fans want him out. I've seen a lot of people say that, a lot of Southampton fans
Have
come
they
out and say-
progressed in the years that they've had him there?
They had like a new manager boost for like a season where he looked very good and he was kind of like the best manager
He's
outside
very
the top
highly
6.
rated.
Yeah, he's got like a good kind of CV, but I think it's downwards at the moment. The spiral is happening.
He's expired.
Yeah,
Expired milk, bro.
I don't think there's too much in this game. I think it's going to be like a 1-0 West Ham.
I think I'm going to agree with you. 1-0 West Ham.
Yeah.
Rounding out the weekend.
Bash.
Ugh.
Bash.
Liverpool off of a bad defeat to Arsenal. I say bad. They lost 3-2. One of the goals could be in VAR off, but Arsenal did deserve to win that game. Liverpool didn't look the worst that they played all season.
But they've come out of that game. Trent not available.
Matip
not available. Diaz not available. Robbo, I think, is on the fence.
Diaz could be out until after the World Cup.
Yeah, which is sad.
Which is sad.
But
like, I mean,
they've got injuries.
That potentially leaves them free to play like with Nunez, Jota out on the left, or even Harvey Elliott.
Mm.
And then you've got Firmino behind, and then Salah out wide on the right.
And what it also does is they can play Joe Gomez at right back, who offensively isn't going to do what Trent does, but defensively is so much more
better,
solid.
So much better.
So, is it a blessing in disguise? I don't know. You never want to be without Trent in a game like this, but
Calvin Ramsey as well, who I think's been injured.
Yeah, signed from Scotland, didn't he? Yeah.
But he's a really exciting player. And I was listening to the Tifo podcast, and JJ Bull was talking about how he's noticed that Klopp doesn't like to throw young players in at the deep end. I mean, it would have been a great opportunity to come on and play against Arsenal, play that right back role, but you don't really want to go straight into his team, especially his team that's struggling as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because that could just completely destroy a player. And so just shout out to Tifo podcast.
Yeah.
Go listen to them. Their knowledge is almost on our level. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool's got issues, and Man City, I mean, I know we spoke about this earlier in the podcast. Pep said that Haaland and Foden potentially with a few issues, but I mean,
Haaland versus Van Dijk, this is what we've been waiting for.
We were waiting for it, and then we realised Van
Saliba.
Dijk shit.
Yeah, and Saliba's the man.
And I've been absolutely rinsed for my
My
team
guy
of the year.
had him in his best ever centre-back, Van Dijk. Oh, what an hell.
I stand by it.
Anyway,
Van Dijk
prediction.
masterclass, Liverpool win 4-0.
Van Dijk with all 4.
Van Dijk with all 4 and 2 are offside. I think this game's going to be closer than people think.
Do you think?
Yeah, I really do. A lot of people are saying that Haaland's going to put 9 past them, double digits. I don't think so. I think it's going to be a tighter game than people think. I think there will be spells where Liverpool are on top. I think it's going to be spells where City are on top.
Spit it out, bruv.
But I'm going to go for a 2-1 to Manchester City.
Very nice. I agree, Man City are going to win, but I'm going to go 4-1.
Fair enough.
And that is episode 25, quarter century.
Yeah, we've waffled a lot during this episode. There were some really good points and some bad points.
Yeah, we
sometimes
started
they're
off,
good, sometimes they're
it was
shit.
like IQ here, waffle down here,
Yeah.
and then it's kind of like gone that way.
Yeah,
as
I
the
mean-
episode's gone on.
But yeah, it is what it is.
It is
But yeah,
what it is. Hope you
thank you very
enjoyed.
much for listening, guys. Make sure to follow all our socials. Roz has been banging out the short form media, the Instagram Reels, the YouTube Shorts, the TikTok.
Yeah, follow us on all platforms.
Everything down in the description
Sub to
below.
everything.
We've got a
Please.
big schedule coming up ahead of the Qatar World Cup.
Yeah,
like
literally.
we're going to be seeing way too much of each other for our comfort.
Just how we like it.
Yeah, so it's going to be mental. Make sure you are subscribed, got notifications on, everything like that. We want to try get our YouTube up to 100 subs. So if your nan's not subscribed, go to our house.
I was literally about to say, get the nans involved.
Get your nan. Nans love us and we love them. But yeah,
if your nan wants to come on, we can put another chair here.
Of course you can.
So
sit on your lap.
Blood clot.
Thank you very much for
we need to
listening,
go.
guys. It's been BoreDraw and it's live.
Cheers, guys.